Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So a few things. I wanted to do something different this time. I wanted to do something like actually with you guys. So we all know a lot of people are coming up with their own theories currently, and there's a lot of good ideas out. I'm currently crafting one of my own, so don't worry about that. We'll have that in a future video. But for today, I want to know your guys' theory. I had this poll up. I thought about doing a post on Twitter as well, but then I thought, yeah, I'm not gonna do a post on Twitter. Let's just keep it here on YouTube. Let's just do that instead, because a lot of people are extremely unhinged when it comes to Twitter. So no, we're not doing that. I asked you guys to give me your favorite Resident Evil Requiem theories. I want to get the community involved and make a video based on your theories. And you guys did not disappoint. So I'm going to read some of these to see what you guys have to say. So we got the very first theory on the list. And they say, I guess my theory is that Leon, Jill, and Chris will make an appearance or at least be mentioned. However, I think that Jill and Chris will not be playable. I'm pretty sure I heard Jill's voice actress in the trailer, Nicole Tompkins, unless she's voicing a different character like she did in 8. This, I actually thought the exact same thing. As soon as you guys can look at my reaction, my short, whatever, I actually thought the same thing. I feel like I really did hear Nicole Tompkins. I recognize that voice from Village. I recognized her voice in obviously RE3 Remake, Death Island, of course. And when I've seen the trailer, I'm like, yeah, this is her voice. This could very well be Nicole Tompkins. It may not be Jill, but I do think she is coming back for a role at least, because I am convinced that's her as well. As far as Leon, Jill, and Chris making an appearance, it's possible maybe. I do feel like we are going to get an OG character at some point. Don't know who it is. A lot of people do say it's Leon. I personally cannot tell you. I can just hope that it is Leon or Jill, Chris, whoever it is. I don't mind. Yeah, that is a good one. But no, I agree. I definitely did hear Nicole Tompkins. This is from Gold-9761, and they said if it's Leon's voice in the trailer, we need to see how he got back to Raccoon City. I mean, hopefully he hasn't driven there. Hopefully he hasn't been just driving any sort of vehicle, because apparently everything that Leon drives, he crashes apparently. No, but in all seriousness, I really do hope that we do see like some kind of progression in his character to see how he actually got his way back into Raccoon City somehow. They would have to make that make sense, because why would you go back to Raccoon City? That doesn't, like, if one of our main characters are there, why would you go back to the place that kind of like traumatized you, kind of like started this whole cycle for you? I don't necessarily think there is any good reason to go back there unless there's like a really strong reason to, but we'll see. Beppo Hall, am I saying that right? Leon will die and Chris and Jill will face their final mission together as a setup for Resident Evil 10 Biohazard. Oh, I do like how they put like the B10 hazard, like Biohazard. That's actually sick. I haven't even come up with that. I haven't even thought of that, to be honest. Yeah, that's the talk right now. A lot of people are saying that Leon is going to perish. Leon is going to go away in the series, whether he's going to retire, something's going to happen to him. I personally cannot tell you. I don't think they're going to do that, only because, you know, money. I can't think of another reason why, but at the same time, you never know. But yeah, I do want Chris and Jill to come back at some point to kind of finish that story arc that we were left off in Village with the whole BSAA thing. I don't know if Requiem is actually going to go back to that story arc. They may. We just don't know. We just don't know 100%. One Heart says the word Requiem usually means a farewell or a tribute to the dead. So this could mean a major character. Maybe Chris Redfield might die or retire. I don't know. Some fans believe it might be the final chapter for characters from the older games. Now, I don't agree that's Chris Redfield, only because that we do hear the fact that he is well and alive in Resident Evil Village Shadows of Rose DLC. We heard about Chris and how he's actually taken custody of Rose, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Basically, the new guardian of Rose, so I don't think anything, well, obviously nothing has happened to him there, so he's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to go anywhere in this game in particular. So we got Jarvis Kozric, if I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your guys' names, by the way. I am so sorry. The secondary character we play as will be Kevin, Ryman, Carlos, Billy if it's not Leon, Joel or Chris, especially since Capcom said the second character was a favorite of theirs. Now, I would love to see Kevin Ryman back. If you don't know who Kevin is, he's actually a character from Resident Evil Outbreak. He's actually an RPD officer from Outbreak. I would love for his return. Some of the stuff about the Outbreak character's returns are teased in Resident Evil 3 Remake, I believe, in one of the vehicles. And in the radio, you can actually hear that they are trapped in a back bar or something like that. And it was Kevin, Cindy, maybe. They did mention like a waitress or like a barista or some sort. So I do hope he comes back in some way. The main villain is probably probably George Hamilton or someone else new that paid it and funded the connections or to do whatever they did in Resident Evil 7, especially if Spencer, another character that were mentioned or deceased prior to 9, do not return at all physically. George Hamilton would be an interesting pick, but I don't think it's going to be George Hamilton, to be honest, only because I don't think he's going to close off kind of like this chapter in the series. I don't think he has that type of establishment when it comes to the series as a whole. I feel like the perfect character would either be like Spencer. Hell, Brandon Bailey could be in the mix too, I feel like, because they kind of sprinkled them literally in a lot of games. They sprinkled them in 5 and 7, I believe. Yeah, Spencer, I feel like Spencer would be a good pick for them to kind of bring back, in my opinion at least. The mutated monster lady is probably Alyssa or Yoko. I think they meant Yoko, depending on how tragic Capcom wants to go. If it's not Lisa Trevor, again, I do agree, it could be Alyssa. That's a huge possibility. That's another theory I've been hearing, that it could be Alyssa Ashcroft, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're revisiting the place that initially had, you know, where they found your mom, you know, murdered. So I can see why Alyssa would be like the pick in these theories and why people do think it's Alyssa. But I've been hearing talks that some of the characteristics of that creature is like Lisa Trevor. So that's another thing too to consider. As for other returning characters, I see Carlos, Leon, Kevin, Barry, Mark, Sherry, Claire, and Yoko coming back because of the other voices featured in the trailer sound like one or more of them. But anyways, I look forward to seeing what happens next and hopefully see gameplay footage of our second playable character in RE9. While yeah, I do agree a lot of people should come back, because if you guys didn't know, Grace Ashcroft's role is a technical analyst in the FBI, and they usually work in groups. So we are going to go in RPD with more than one person, obviously. So it's going to be like an Outbreak game. I don't think it's going to play like a Outbreak title. I don't think a lot of people are just going to be running around looking for keys, you know, scrambling around for scraps or whatever they can find. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think their narrative is going to make it like, you know, it's a group of survivors at a place and we gotta just get out of this place, kind of like RE1 started, except RE1 kind of just have everyone die before we actually got to the mansion. You were just there with like Barry, Chris, and Wesker. But anyways, next theory, I just think the man sits on the chair is definitely Billy Cohen. I mean, that's a pretty cool theory. I wouldn't mind it, but they made it seem like that character that's sitting in the chair is like a main villain, you know? I don't think they would do that to Billy Cohen. I think if he was returning into the series and calling Grace the chosen one, that just sounds like, you know, you're an evil villain. You're a villain to me. I don't think Billy would say something like that in particular. But who knows? Capcom could just, you know, throw a curveball at us and be like, hey, this was Billy. I don't know. This one's from Gabriel. Here's one I don't think has been mentioned. I just wrote it on Nerd's comment section, but what if the bad guy is actually Albert Lester? Was he not mutated as well and also off? What if he survived? It would make sense if he's after Grace because he's already got it out for Alyssa, and it could be he's that one that's finished. If you guys don't know, he didn't mean Albert Wesker. There is an actual character called Albert Lester. He's actually like the director of a hospital in the Arklay Mountains. From what I can recall, he actually lost his wife. I believe her name was Dorothy. He's the Axeman, I believe it was, which could be cool. I feel like it'll make sense to bring him back because he was in one of the Outbreak games. He was actually in file number 2. Yeah, he was a pretty violent character. And also they did have like this sort of history in the Outbreak games as well. I don't remember too well, but I can't see this viewpoint. But he definitely was out to get Alyssa in Outbreak file number 2. If you guys want to play it and know about it yourselves, go and play it. But they do have this connectivity. Remember, it's not Albert Wesker, it's Albert Lester. There's actually a character called that. They made it way too similar to Wesker. Next comment is, my theory is you the man. Highly appreciate for the positive comment. I highly appreciate you so much. Thank you. So we got the next comment. Alyssa Ashkar will probably and tragically become a mutated BOW that Grace will sadly face off against. Yeah, which is, yeah, it makes sense. You know, going back to the place that your mother was potentially or was murdered actually, for you to find a BOW there is kind of suspicious to me. So I do think it could be Alyssa. It's a strong possibility. They say she was murdered 8 years ago. But could the body be so unidentifiable and that it could have been someone else's? Alyssa could have just been tortured and experimented on so she became a monster. Hopefully that's not the case, but it could potentially be. Now here's the thing that I had, or one of my theories, but I do think that's Alyssa in any case. I really do think, I am convinced that's Alyssa, to be honest, because the game is going back to kind of like its Resident Evil 1 story-ish. The game has taken a lot of elements from the first Resident Evil game and are applying it to our Resident Evil Requiem from what it looks like from the outside. And this is exactly what they've done to Lisa Trevor. They kind of just had her experimenting on constantly over and over again, and she just became like this indestructible a BOW eventually. Could I see this happening to Alyssa Ashcroft as well? 100%. I can 100% see Alyssa Ashcroft kind of have this, you know, tragic story as much as, you know, Lisa Trevor had, and it makes sense. It really makes sense. And then you're having Grace Ashcroft go over there kind of like for a bait to be experimented on, because that's what literally George Trevor and the whole Trevor family was over there for. They all got baited initially. If you guys don't remember the story of RE1 remake, they all got baited. They all got baited to the mansion to go over the mansion. So I can definitely see this theory being extremely strong in my personal opinion. So I can agree. Next comment is, I think the hotel would be a central location, but not super close to Raccoon City. Huge chance that if there's anything important happening near what's left of Raccoon City, and other people will know about it. Probably start as Grace for a while, either have a second protagonist, or there would be an A or B scenario with a different character, which I wouldn't mind. I really do think that's what they're going for. If we're getting like this whole multiple players kind of direction, that I do think that we are going to get like some sort of A and B scenario at some point in the game, which makes sense to me. And as for the hotel, it could be the main hub area. I do think the RPD, in my opinion, is going to be, if the game is going to be as big as they say it's going to be, I do think RPD is going to be like the main hub area, where we're able to travel to more places outside of that, which in my opinion would be cool. I feel like. Then one more thing, I have a feeling Capcom will make some sort of spin-off game soon. I got the feeling that they want to refrain from using old characters from the mainline series, so it's more welcoming to newcomers. There's too many loose ends left over after each game, which I agree. There's a lot of leftover. There's a lot of plot holes in the freaking series that I don't understand, or anyone understands, to be honest. I don't think they want to move away from old characters, to be honest. I don't think they want to do that. I do think they do want to bring like newcomers in. That's a for sure thing, but I don't think they want to entirely get rid of old characters because of that reason, because you could still have the old characters in and introduce new characters, like what they're doing now with Grace. They want to introduce new players to come in. That's what they're doing now, but you don't have to get rid of the old characters for that specifically, in my opinion. You can do that either way. They did the same with Ethan Winters. Ethan was a new character. People came in Resident Evil 7, and Chris Redfield was, well, at least for 7, he was in like the last 10 minutes of the game, not including the DLC, but for Village, he was there for, you know, for a good amount, I would say. Next comment is, my theory is that Conjured Lion is a major antagonist in the game. How the hell did you know that? Listen, I wasn't supposed to tell you guys, but he's right. I'm actually the main antagonist in the next Resident Evil title. I'm sorry to tell you, but they called me in for a mocap. I was strapped into this umbrella facility under the dungeons of Capcom, and there you go. I'm the main antagonist for the next game. Next comment is, Grace Ashcroft is Rose under a different identity. I've been seeing, I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibility. My only problem with this whole identity thing, it's the year that the game does take place in that we still don't know about yet. We still don't know when exactly the game takes place in, but it's still a possibility. I know she's young in the year 20, oh, is it 37 or something like that? What is the year of Shadows of Rose? They keep time jumping. I keep forgetting the year. We don't know what year this game particularly takes place in, and I do know that, you know, Alyssa Ashcroft is pretty young and she should be old by then, but who knows, man? Who knows in this series? But yeah, these are the comments I have. Yeah, if you guys want me to do like more community stuff like this, I'm actually wanting to do, like, give me like your craziest theories, like your out of the box, batshit nutty ass, you know, theories that I want you guys to give me the next time. But if you guys like the content, make sure to like the video. And if you are new to the channel, do not want to miss any more Resident Evil content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And most importantly, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. Please take it easy out there, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next time. And until then, peace.